Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hockey Night in Westboro. I'm producer Lenny. This is Burl, and of course Gallo, and this show we have Coach Dave Belbin, and we're going to go over some questions and talk about the season.
Good to have you.
Thanks
Welcome
for
joining us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. So, Coach, second year as head coach of the Rangers. First year must have been a lot of learning experiences. Now, you've been with the team for years before this, so not everything is brand new. But any surprises and anything that you learned that you weren't expecting to learn?
Yeah, for first year was exciting, right? Being able to kind of have the reins of the program for a little bit. Obviously, I've been there for a while, like you said. This is year 6 for me in the program total. Big learning curve in terms of what it takes to become a head coach. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that maybe I didn't do as an assistant coach, so that was a bit of a learning process. But overall, it went really well, and it was pretty exciting. And I'm excited for year 2 now that I kind of have my feet a little bit under me, and we'll see where it takes us.
Were you ready for that media attention that it takes
No.
to coach here in Westboro?
No.
I mean, it's the social media capital of the world here.
Yeah.
WTV,
The interviews,
podcasts.
Yeah, the interviews, the podcasts are coming out soon, apparently.
Could you go anywhere without getting mobbed?
No.
The celebrity
No.
status you must have
I
achieved
was
quickly.
just in Chipotle. It's people all over me.
So last year, small senior class, 4 guys, they're gone. New senior class, 4 new senior leaders.
Yeah.
Talk about the difference between last year's team and how this year's team's shaping up and some of the personalities of these seniors.
Sure. Yeah, the 4 seniors we had last year were a talented bunch, and we'll certainly miss them on the ice and them in the locker room as well. 4 new seniors stepping in are Ian Campbell, Chase Parsons, Danny Velez, and Thomas Cashman. 4 really good leaders, 4 guys that have been there for all 4 years on varsity. It's part of my belief that the team starts to take on the characteristics of the captains, and I think this year we have a really good core group of leaders who work really hard on and off the ice, and it seems like so far, just in the first week or so here, that the team is starting to take those characteristics on a little bit.
Coach, ideally, now you can't control everything because as we learned, injuries can change a path quickly, but ideally, what kind of team would you like to be known as, and what kind of thoughts do you want your opponents to have when they see Westboro on the schedule?
Sure. I was just having this conversation with my captains before I came over here, talking about the identity of the team a little bit. I think the first goal is to compete, right? And kind of the same message we had last year, just showing up every day and competing. In terms of the identity piece, I think it's hardworking, it's gritty, it's fast, it's physical. I think that's part of the makeup of our team this year, and we have a lot of guys who are back with us, who were sophomores or freshmen last year that have start to fill out a little bit, have worked really hard in the off season physically to get stronger. So the hope is that teams realize that we're fast and physical. So hopefully that's the motto we use all year, and hopefully that comes to fruition a little bit.
I'm going to follow up on that.
Yep.
I heard Jim Montgomery say, we need to play fast, week after week, and the Bruins looked slower and slower and slower than he gets. What does it mean to play fast in your?
The last couple of days we've been working on speed and generating speed throughout the on our breakouts as well as the neutral zone as well.
It's not just the forecheck.
It's not just the forecheck, and because you've played the game before, like it's all about the defensive zone first, right? So getting out of the zone with speed, and then attacking down the wall with speed, being able to push the D towards the center of the ice and take advantage of space on the outside. So that's stuff we've worked on, and hopefully we'll see it come together.
I'm obsessed with a 2-2-1 forecheck, or actually the 4-1 forecheck. We talk about it every year. Do you have an actual forecheck recipe, or does it change based on your winning or losing?
We might
Does it
have
change
to
by the
bleep
opposition?
this out.
We might.
We can't disclose this information.
Oh,
We
is
wanna
it?
We
lead
might.
away from puck drop.
Wow.
We have a couple systems in place
Okay, that's hidden.
that are hidden.
Hidden secrets.
Yeah. That we've repeated just because the opponent changes, the way we defend sometimes
All right.
changes. and
Did the
so-
way you played last year, is it a system you utilize every year, or do you base it on your players?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
It's a little bit of staying true to the system and what we as coaches believe works, but also making sure to put our players in positions to be successful too, right? So this year we have a fast team, and hopefully we can use those skills to our advantage.
Most successful place for you was in the penalty box. Coach, hockey in Central Mass, everybody gets to know each other pretty well. Westboro plays Algonquin, rival, huge. Marlboro, Wachusett. These are teams that you see every year, usually twice a year. Talk about those rivalries, and does last year's performance in some of those games stick in your craw and perhaps change some of the ways you might go about games or game planning?
Yeah, I think Central Mass hockey is where I grew up, so I love the little rivalries that take place. And like you said, a lot of the kids play together growing up, whether it's Algonquin through Triborough or Marlboro or whatever it is. So those games are ones we circle every year, just in terms of it's got a little extra meaning. In terms of last year, I know the guys on the team probably have a couple dates circled, for sure. I think for me, I'm just focused on trying to play the game the right way, and hopefully we get some different results this year.
I don't think they want to lose to Algonquin this year.
Oh,
I don't think they want to lose to them any year.
No, I agree.
I think it's a little extra. I think
But there might be a little extra
I
something.
think there's a lot of, and they know each other a lot. And I had a couple of kids on the fall team, and they talked a lot about the game played at DCU Center, which was not their best game, I guess you could say, right?
Sure.
And
I think they were a little upset that Westboro beat them in the Athletic Directors Cup the year before. I think that stuck in their memory, and I think that maybe they took it out on last year's edition, and I think that this year's Rangers would be nice. It'd be nice for them to pay it forward.
Are you personally? Is there a team?
I thought you were going to ask if he was going to put a bounty on somebody like Slapshot.
Yeah, I got that Dr. Hook. Rest in peace. But like, do you actually go out there and try to match up with any of the coaches? Like, is there someone you look forward to do?
It's a good question. I've grew up with a couple of the coaches just because of playing in Shrewsbury. I got to know them just as a player, and now getting to know them as a coach. So there's a lot of respect there, and I don't think there's a certain game that I necessarily circle, but there are some fun relationships that you get to know guys and compete against them, and they can add a little bit to it.
I saw the schedule come out all over social media. I caught right onto it and noticed some of the familiar foes that we're talking about. I also noted teams like Manichog or Minichog.
Minichog,
I don't even know where that is.
Yeah.
Oh, we did last year?
Yeah.
Where does that schedule come from? Is it the ADs, or do you have any relationships with some of these other coaches where you actually set up some games outside of your conference?
Yeah, it's a good question. So our schedule is run through one of our referees that does all of it. Request some teams if we were to reach out to another team and come to an agreement. So there are teams out in Springfield that will basically play a home and home against. So we'll play them this year, agree to play them next year. So we have a little bit of flexibility in who we play, but they try and match up teams, according to size of school.
Does he
and
communicate
talent.
with you, the referee, or is it just all of a sudden, here's your schedule?
Yep, no, he does a really good job of communicating with us. He's actually refed a couple of our games as well, and I've enjoyed working with him, so he does a really good job of that. Yeah.
I think going into my freshman year, Pee Wee year, so that was going into freshman year, we would get the ice from Boot. He'd let us go out there. We had a very good youth team, and we'd bargain. We would be out there working, and he'd give us the ice. Well, we had a time we had half the sheet one day. I think a day off, and we needed some players, so we recruited some non-hockey players, and there was a kid by the name of Rob McCullough,
Never heard of him.
who we dragged onto the ice. And he was slow as molasses, but he had a great shot, and he was a great street hockey player. And from that, we convinced this burly Bob to start playing hockey the next year with Westboro. We sought and recruited. Does that happen? Do we get some of the hidden talents out there, as we call them?
Well, we think we found. We were talking.
Did we
about a couple.
find some?
Well, I think Nick McNamara can be.
Nick McNamara maybe
So
a good example.
That
of that
was one of the things I was going to ask. Is we do have a few players on the team now that maybe took a less traditional road to getting to high school hockey, in Lucas Verdana and Nick McNamara and Jackson Gatto. These are going to be players that have an imprint on the team, whether it's this year or the next year or what happens. They're going to be important members. And how do we seek out those players? That's exactly a question I had, Chris. And I don't know that there's an answer other than dangling free ice in front of them.
Which you don't get free
snowstorm.
ice anymore, do you?
No,
Those days are
The other thing is
long
not free
gone.
ice, but
Of
maybe even
that
free-
ice
free
being
street
open at
hockey.
all anymore.
Yeah.
You know, if you actually get like
Street
'cause
hockey?
you can't get 10 kids right now to play a game of street hockey like I could as a kid in the city.
Yeah.
That'd be something like that's how you make a hockey player, right?
Yeah.
On the street first. Then
We did have a street hockey league in 1987 out of the high school with 150 participants, the entire freshman class. Well, maybe half of it.
Oh, it was more than that. It was incredible. That was-
But none of them played regular hockey, but we would try to recruit.
Yeah.
Well, if you need any help doing it, we
Yeah.
I know there was a
that.
question.
Street hockey league. Let's get that street hockey league back.
I think that's what it is though. Like trying to get to the younger grades a little bit earlier, get them involved in street hockey. This year during the homecoming festival, we had a little booth with kids that are able to shoot around a little bit and try and gain a little bit of attention, and hopefully that develops into something. But
I love the idea of like having a street hockey league like they have a rec league at the high school.
yeah.
You go down to announce the games.
Oh, like the basketball.
Yeah, basketball. Yeah, basketball team has this rec league, and
Do they?
it's the most popular thing in the school, I think, isn't it? We come.
Yeah, the rec league.
I heard the draft was last night.
Was the draft
That's
last
what
night?
I
I
heard.
did hear rumblings.
Any hockey players get drafted? Are they allowed to play in the rec league?
They are. They can, in their free time, they can play.
A thing that's different than when we were growing up, and it's relatively new, but everything's relatively new when you're as old as we are. Power rankings. The way the MIAA comes up with their seedings and their playoff berths is an arithmetic formula that you would need. That's why you have your new assistant coach, who is a math teacher at the high school, involved. But it's a process, and it isn't as clear cut as wins and losses, because goal differential matters and opponent strength matters. How much of that enters your mind in the later parts of a game? Maybe it's a tie game. Maybe you're down a goal or up a goal. How much of that weighs?
Yeah, maybe Coach Desjardins can help crunch the numbers for me this year. It does play a role. So the way that the MIAA has put the power rankings together is you can lose by a max of 3 goals, essentially what it is. So if you were to lose 6-1, it goes in as a 3-goal differential. So come end of game, if you were down by 2, there are some risk in pulling the goalie because that could lead to 3, right? However, on the flip side, if you pull the goalie and score, then all of a sudden you've cut the goal differential to 1, and that may help you in the long run. So there's quite a bit of thinking that goes on. To be honest, my thoughts around it is I coach to win games. Like that's just the competitiveness in me. So when we're down by a goal or 2, like I'm gonna go for the win just because that's who I am. I think the team agrees with that too. I had conversations with them last year about it, and they were all on board. Like, yeah, we want to win the game. Later on in the season, when it gets time to really start crunching the numbers on if we're in or out of the playoffs, then sometimes maybe you make some harder decisions, but.
But the goal is not to be in that position anyways.
The goal is not to be in that position anyways, right?
I don't think you will be. So.
Yeah.
Are there any moments from last year, anything that happened, any memories from last year that you just, and if there are, can you give us examples of it? Whether it's something we all know,
Yep.
or if there's something else that happened, like personal, not personal, but like in the locker room.
Sure, yeah. I think there are moments throughout the year, those, this is why I'm doing it moments sort of thing.
Right.
I think from a team point of view, the Big Al game, as we'll call it, like the kid who's never played goal in his life gets a win somehow on home ice. That was just one of those moments I think everyone involved will never forget, because that's just something so unique, right, and special, and how the team was able to kind of rally around that moment, and that's probably my standout moment. But I'm sure there are a bunch of others that happened throughout the year.
And one thing about the Rangers, you've always had a good home ice advantage playing right here in Westboro at North Star. But we've lost Dapolite, we've lost Manny, we've lost Martel, we've lost some loud voices in the crowd. Are we going to replace them this year? Do we have some new voices to be heard from?
I think you have.
Because you're quiet. You
There are a
got the
couple of
headset
moms.
on.
I think there are a couple of moms that are.
We need some. We got some moms coming in.
Pretty
They're gonna-
loud moms.
All right. We
I don't
bring
think
them
that
on.
shows up in the power rankings.
Bring them on.
Chris, you mentioned North Star, Rink A. We asked the kids earlier this year a couple of rapid fire questions. I'm going to hit you with the same ones. where is your favorite rink to play other than North Star?
DCU Center was fun last year, so I'll put that one in there. Yeah.
I'll tell you, that was mixed with the kids.
was
Some
mixed?
loved it, some didn't
Okay.
like it.
Okay.
The ice, not good.
No, the
It was a
game
little
wasn't-
quiet.
Yeah.
in
A
little
there.
quiet in the
It-
barn.
it-
Might be,
Yeah,
yeah.
it sound, the acoustics are way off. Like the old Wallace Civic Center when the sandbags were there, same thing.
Yeah.
I'll put this one out there too, the Blackstone Valley one. Even though it's
it's
it's a
cold.
freezer and it's cold,
The
the
ice
ice,
is
the ice
nice.
is nice. It's very hard.
They have loud.
Yeah,
they're
that's a-
loud
so
fans.
That's a loud fan base.
Yes.
Like
I'm a
you-
fan of good ice.
Of your opponents, what's your favorite jersey that one of them wears?
Favorite jersey?
Yes.
North Middlesex has a good jersey. They have a little bit of a throwback one.
I think that's the one that
I
you liked, or you.
It might have been.
The Rangers?
It's a little bit of a
Yeah,
throwback off-white.
Diagonal on that
Yeah,
cream
yeah.
color
I
jersey.
did
yeah.
like that.
I like the Winter Classic look.
You know, a lot of the kids know what they like the most. I was surprised. The camo.
Oh, the camo?
Yeah.
Nah,
I mean, I really don't like
it's
it.
tough
but-
to see it though.
All right, your favorite signal that it's time for a line change. You whistled, you yelled, you rattled the door.
I don't think I make any noise.
Just ESP.
Maybe a let's go.
Uh,
they seem to know what that means.
Yeah,
They all have the internal clocks. They know. They know when it's time. Yeah.
we've had comments saying I like being out there until the coach gets mad enough to rattle the door.
Everyone, they
like the
did
rattle
seem
and
to
door?
think
No.
that the door rattle
I guess
was when it was serious.
Yeah.
My wife loves to coach these athletes for fitness, strength, endurance, and speed. How was the off season? Did these young athletes? I saw McNamara, I saw McCullough out there. Did these athletes hit the courts, hit the weight room? Do you participate? Do you keep up with them? Do you feel like you've got a fit team this year?
I do. They put in the work. We did a little bit of fitness testing at the end of last year, a little bit at the beginning of this year, just
Did
to
Jan
see.
Gibo do that for you?
No,
Oh, you did it yourself.
Yeah, I
Wow.
just did it myself. And then did one before the season this year, and there's some real significant progress there.
Really?
So,
Some strength?
A number of them were getting up at 9 a.m. to go to the gym at the high school during the summer, and so they put in the work, and hopefully it shows off.
This young generation really is not afraid of the gym from what we see.
Oh, it's good. It's really good.
Unlike my generation.
Is there some guy named Jim I'm supposed to know? I'm not familiar. I don't know who he is.
Goaltending.
Goaltending.
This year looks like you've got two.
We've got two.
How do you balance
Knock
that
on
out?
wood. It's
I
nice,
don't know.
nice to have.
What a tough position to play when you've got to
It
sit.
is.
I don't know. I could never do it.
Yep.
You know, you've got to sit, you got to watch, you got to be, good. We had Swayman and Allmark last year. That's rare. You got two goalies that split time.
Yep.
So for you, that's a lot to think about.
It is, and I think we, as much as last year was a challenge when Terrell
Crazy.
went down, and we had to find the right pass to get a goalie, and but I think the positive is we were able to get Tristan, the 8th grader, some reps on varsity, and 8th graders usually don't get that.
Yep.
So
Now
I
you've got
think
depth
hopefully
at the
that
position.
hopefully that pays off. He's had another year to be a part of the program, and
Does it help at practice to have two quality goalies to shoot at?
oh definitely.
It must be a lot better than
Definitely.
just having
Yep.
one.
Yep, it's a nice change this year. That's for sure.
Fantastic.
So you mentioned Tristan playing as an 8th grader last year. You've got 8th graders involved in the program again this year.
Yep.
I think it's a great idea. He talks about growing the program like you were alluding to. Is that something that can be sustained? Is that allowed to continue? And how much activity do you see in the lower grades and interest in the game?
Yeah. So there's a waiver that the MIA grants us, basically to have 8th graders along with us. They're allowed to play JV, so they're not allowed to bump up to varsity except in extenuating circumstances like last year. So hopefully we're able to continue that for the next couple of years. It's worked out really well in the last 2 years. We have 4 8th graders who've joined us this year, and they've all been great. Looking at the numbers down the road, it looks like there's a good number in about the 7th, 6th, and maybe 5th grade. That looks like they're coming along, so hopefully that bodes well for numbers down the road. But yeah, my hope would be to continue to have the 8th graders with us because they help fill in that JV program, gets them part of our program sooner, ropes everybody together. And it works well. So
Is there a goalie in the mix? I guess that's the,
I believe there's one in 6th or 7th grade.
Is there a way I mean,
Yeah.
I just wonder I'm sure that each team in youth hockey has 1 or 2 goalies.
Yeah.
Is there a way to find out well, there isn't a Westboro kid. It's a,
Yeah.
Triborough is 3 towns, and, there may be 3 goalies on a team. But if they're not from Westboro, you may have a problem coming soon.
Yeah.
So is there a push to maybe talk to kids and say, hey, if you want to play goalie, we need someone for this year?
Sure. Yeah. It's a hard position to play.
It is.
It really is.
It's an expensive position
It's
to
an
play.
expensive position to play, and you have to get in at a fairly young age just to be able to learn, how to protect yourself, how to catch a puck, how to save it, how to do everything properly, right? So lucky enough, I have some, contacts in some of the lower grades that are able to kind of fill me in on, what the numbers are coming up, and it does look like we have a goalie, but yeah, starting to have conversations with kids in middle school about maybe the ideas.
Right.
It's not crazy.
Dangerous.
Are we going to have a sideline reporter this year, Lenny? Have we recruited?
Yes.
Between the
Excellent.
glass.
It's going to be.
No,
well,
in
she's
the
trying to get out
box.
of it.
with
She's-
you. No, I'm kidding.
She's trying to get out of her
Drive
contract
you insane.
with a couple places, but JKL Clean is going to sponsor a sideline reporter.
Beautiful. So this broadcast. What's new with the broadcast this year? The fans want to know that too. Anything for the production?
Just there's some surprises.
There's some surprises
yeah,
that not even I'm going to know until we
you will know
arrive.
that there-
Much like the forecheck,
Yes.
we are not
Yes.
ready.
There's
to
going to be
dive all
more.
in.
There's going to be,
Titillating.
there's gonna
We
be
are
more
gonna have more
involvement.
fans on that
more
first gig.
between period involvement of that's what I can tell you.
We
You-
including
you're-
any of the
You're gonna
staff
work,
at the rink?
You're going to work a little harder. You're gonna-
Okay,
Between
fine.
periods.
I do have it on good word that we may be getting live entertainment before some games.
Wow.
Yep. Some of the staff has been practicing in the off season, I've been told.
Then there's always the game with the McCullough family a cappella, who will sing the national anthem.
As long as the throat
Well,
holds up, yeah.
Now that Steve Tepper confirmed that Boot is a world-class singer and karaoke expert, anything could happen this year. What do we call it? The Boot Tech?
The discotheque.
Discotheque.
Yeah.
It might be right back in
it could
action.
be.
My sister retired last year, and about 2 months later, she went right back to work. Your dad retired last year. How's he dealing with the afterlife of coaching? Is helping you enough?
Yeah.
Or does he need more stimulation? That's got to be a big change.
Yeah. No, he's been awesome with us. I'm glad to have him around. Obviously, he's been in the
very
program
involved.
for almost 20 years. So
He's still very involved?
Yep, still very involved. He's working at the high school in the spring too as assistant athletic director. So he's still around and doing great things for the kids.
Are we going to have you at the Cabot Circle caroling this year?
I think so.
I think I'm going to go too,
Yeah.
by the way. Yep, that's fantastic.
circled on my
I'm going
calendar.
to bring the filming in for that.
Will Frank and Elaine host us for that? Can we
Yes.
swing in the driveway?
Oh, yes, you can.
Love it.
We've all got to go. That'll be filmed. Fantastic occasion.
Wonderful.
Talking about tradition and things that go on, is there a player of the game token this year, or has one been created yet or thought of yet?
It has not been created. I don't know. That's on the captains. 2 years ago, there was the big cowboy hat, right? So we'll see what this year
Yeah,
brings.
and usually it becomes something that just happens, right?
It usually just happens.
Season opens up this Saturday, assuming Lenny can get this thing cut and produced on time this
Yep.
Saturday. Toy drive?
Yeah, this Saturday. So we got Medway at home, 7:30. Toy drive. So if anybody's coming out, anyone that brings a new unwrapped toy gets a free ticket in. So that counts as your admission. All the toys are going to Westboro Youth and Family Services. So just something that we're trying to do and trying to be a part of the community and give back when we can. So
This team is fast and philanthropic.
Philanthropic.
Fantastic.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to put you two on the clock, not the coach. What do we predict the record to be this year?
Well, I'm always positive.
Well, we should be.
I know a lot of the kids a little better this year, and I think some of them have a little more to give than they had in years past. And I think Dave said they've been showing it.
Can they tie?
You really want me to tell you?
Yeah.
16-4.
What?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
sounds good to me.
That could be the best record in many
Many
decades.
years. I think it'll be the best record in many years. I think Westboro is going this way. A lot of the other teams have lost a little, and I think they're just a little bit. There's a little. I felt a little hunger in the team this year. You know, they
Sounds good to me.
Oh, I like that.
Right.
All right. As the fall coaches, you see this potential in this squad.
It's there. It's there. Good players, good hockey IQ. It's just about.
Do you think
turning
that
it on.
actually helped the kids or hurt them, having these two coach in the fall?
To be fair, I had nothing to do with
the
the fall.
drop off in performance.
All the kids have improved, so
Wow.
you know.
That's why I stayed away. So
Lenny was coaching in Boston, inner city Boston, many years ago. Still
And
brings
it's
those
funny,
skills.
the championship game, guess where they played? Cambridge.
They got into the no way against your alma mater.
We played the schedule. We won to beat the schedule. We lost the last game 1-0 against my hometown. So I can't complain, you know. And like I told you earlier, the kids were great, and they really started coming together right at the right time. And hopefully they carried it on.
Hope so.
Season starts Saturday, and it takes off like a rocket.
It does.
How do you prepare for that pace? And you know, is there anything that is standing out this year that you're really looking forward to?
Yeah, I think it all comes down to the work the kids put in the off season, right? Making sure that everybody comes in ready to rock and conditioned and all that. And it's going to be a interesting start of the season because we were away for a long stretch to start. We have one home game, obviously the Burroughs Cup, and then we have quite a few away games, which will test us early, which will be good, right? Build a little bit of character, and hopefully we'll build some momentum that way.
All right.
Bus trips are always good for a
Fantastic.
team.
Good
right?
luck. Can't wait. Can't wait to watch.
Thanks.
Yeah, Coach, good luck. Thanks for coming back and entertaining us here. That Saturday night game will be broadcast on Westboro TV right here on the YouTube channel as well as the local cable access, and we're going to have as many of these games live streaming as available. All right, Hockey Night in Westboro returns for the 2024-25 season. Good luck, Coach. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. Thanks
you.
for having me.
Thanks
for all you do.
guys.